Hi, I'm Braden Canyard. This is my uh, CS510 Rust programming final project. Um, I figured I would do a video because it would be really hard to explain and you wouldn't have all the context if you didn't see all the pieces and you don't have all the pieces. So this is a Vectrex. It's a video game console from 1982 that has a built-in vector monitor. This board over here is it's called a Vextreme. It's a board that I helped bring into the world that acts as basically a ROM emulator, a ROM emulation cart, and it's got a STM32 microcontroller on it. And the basic gist of it is that when the vectrex asks for data on address lines, the STM32 sees the request and gives it data that it has in memory. But it also has a SPI flash, so you can load up a bunch of games and it'll make that available. So to the Vectrex, it just looks like any other cart, but there's a bunch of games on there, and you can do some extended things as well via this RPC mechanism. That's kind of, I'm getting ranty already. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I guess I just wanted to show that various things that work. This is the menu. This is actually not part of the project, as this is written in 6809 assembly, and I actually didn't change this from the original firmware. I'm just using it as kind of my base case to test a lot of the RPC functionality. These names here are hard-coded into the menu for now, because I didn't get everything working yet for reading from the SPI flash, although I did get very close. I have a couple embedded ROMs in the firmware for just a couple games. If I try to pick like this third item, nothing happens. Although you may see over here, it says handling RPC call change ROM, handling start ROM call arg2. The thing is that there's only 2 embedded, and so arg2 doesn't get me anything. Arg0 is scramble and arg1 is armor attack. So let's load scramble. That just means that now the data, instead of being the menu data being presented to the Vectrex, it's the scramble data. And you can see game works as expected. The original firmware that I helped co-develop in C and assembly, there's some smartness around kind of detecting when resets happen to get back to the menu, and I have not yet gotten that far. So if I hit reset, it'll just go back to scramble, unfortunately. But that I did get a lot of things working. I'll hit reset here. This is going to kill the game. But you may see over here there's a bunch of text. This is actually a listing of the ROMs on the SPI flash. I just got that working yesterday. It's confused. But that is a big step, because that means that the SPI flash itself works. What else? The SPI flash works. I used this MBR library to read the master boot record off of the SPI flash, because it's basically just a FAT formatted device, FAT32 formatted. Then I used that to find the actual FAT partition on there, and this is reading using a off-the-shelf library called FATFS, and it's all no standard code. The only other thing to demo, I guess, is one of the first things I did while I was bootstrapping was I do this make serial. This gives me a little serial interface where I can kind of interact with the board. And if I do H&L, it'll say setting LED high and low. There's an LED on the board here, and that was the kind of the first thing that I tried to get going was, can I get that LED to blink? And there's actually a pretty good ecosystem in this embedded Rust space for like all sorts of stuff. This command is happening over this USB-C cable, because there is a library that is called USB serial, and it presents the host computer with a USB serial device, and I was able to leverage that pretty quickly. And yeah, I think that kind of demos what I have. As far as what I wanted to do, the code is segmented into kind of the generic part versus the Vectrex specific part. And my goal is to extract the generic part into a library, and the library can then be used across platforms, because there's really nothing all that special about the flash cart for Vectrex, except that it's made to fit the Vectrex's port, and that it's got the pinout for the Vectrex on there. If you made a very generic version of this same board and just made adapter boards for various consoles, I believe that that would work, and you could leverage the generic part for a lot of the things that would be generic, like reading from the SPI flash. The original firmware, actually, when you plug it in like over USB-C, not attached to a console, it shows up as a mass storage device, things like that. So that's kind of the general concept, and I feel pretty happy with how far I got, and I definitely feel like I'm going to continue on using Rust to continue to develop this and try to build out this ecosystem. So yeah, thank you for listening to me rant for 6 minutes, and I hope I did well. All right. Thanks, Bart.